Hi again everyone, thank you for taking the time to look at this video. Again, my name is Vaughn Hatton and I'm seeking the Republican nomination for Utah's 2nd District for Congress. In this video I'm going to talk about immigration and more touch on it because this is a topic that we could talk about for an hour, but the purpose of these videos is to tell you how I would talk to the American people about it. And usually when you appear on a network you only have about 5 to 10 minutes to explain yourself tops, and that's it. So I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. But if you would like to know about any of the deep down specifics, things like specific types of visas or economic immigration ratios, please send me an email and I'll talk with you personally about the details. But basically I'm going to split immigration into 3 categories in the order in which they need to be addressed. Because even if you have the right bills in politics, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the results you want. It's kind of like having the correct numbers for a combination lock. But if you enter those numbers in the wrong order, nothing will happen and you might as well not have the right numbers at all. It's the same thing with the political process on immigration. For example, right now the Republicans have allowed the dialogue on immigration to be solely about whether or not to give citizenship to illegals who are already here. That's not the problem. The reason we have an illegal immigration population in the United States and that problem has evolved is because of the lack of a secure border and a tracking system in place for people who overstay their visas. So that's the first thing we need to be addressing before anything else, before any discussion about what to do with the illegals who are here. And it must be in a separate bill, because just like back when Ronald Reagan passed a form of amnesty, in that amnesty bill there were provisions that declared we must secure the border and this is how we're going to do it, and nothing happened. So when you pass massive bills like that have all sorts of different things, it's kind of like riding multiple bicycles at the same time. You'll ride none of them well and end up flat on your face at some point. So we need to tackle this separately. So the first thing, as I mentioned, is to secure the border and put a tracking system in place. The second thing we need to do is address legal immigration. Our legal immigration system right now is broken, it's very difficult, it's very complex, and it's quite expensive. Now with legal immigration, we need to give it a purpose. And I believe that purpose should be to match our immigration policies with our economic needs. Because as far as economics is concerned, there are 2 types of immigrants: low education immigrants and highly educated immigrants. Now, highly educated immigrants are fully equipped to become independent, to take care of themselves, their families, and those around them. What they're coming here for is the freedom in order to do so. These kinds of immigrants should be encouraged to come here. We want these types of immigrants because they're coming here to become productive members of society and to assimilate, not for freebies and handouts. Low education immigrants, on the other hand, are not equipped to become independent. They cannot support their families on such a low income. They have to come here looking for a handout just to survive. Now the Democrats, and this is absolutely key to understand and to share with the American people, the Democrats have always said that illegals cannot get federal benefits or state benefits or anything. This is very deceitful. It's kind of true, but not really. Let me explain how. If you go on the food stamp website, even here in Utah, it will say, are you applying for yourself or for someone else? And you just simply click someone else. Because as soon as one person in the household is eligible for benefits, then the household gets the benefits. It's not just one individual. The amount of benefits that are received are based on household numbers. So all you have to do is click on apply for somebody else and put their social security number in and state your relationship. I am the parent or guardian of this American citizen. Now you say, well, wait a minute, how do you get an American citizen in your custody if you're an illegal immigrant? It's very simple. Because under the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, anyone who is born here is automatically considered a citizen of the United States and eligible for all of the benefits of a citizen. So if you're an illegal immigrant, all you have to do is have a child and then get a social security number for them. Now you have an American citizen in your custody and you can get benefits. I remember during the Arizona Supreme Court battle with immigration, they brought together documents because their whole basis of their argument was that if the federal government does not enforce the immigration laws, the states have to bear the burden, and that's why we feel we have a right to assist the federal government in enforcing the law, because we bear the burdens if those laws are not enforced. Now, of course, the Supreme Court, to a certain degree, told them to go pound sand, but part of their evidence for their damages was to show that these split families, they called them, where the children were American citizens, at least one of the children, and the parents were illegal immigrants. 75% of those types of families in Arizona were on welfare. 75%. That's horribly damaging. And the reason that so many families are like this is simply because they're ill-educated. They haven't had the education and the skills needed to make it in life on their own. The vast majority of them are from Mexico and from Central American countries. Mexico only requires their children to go to school until the 8th grade. So the majority of illegal immigrants don't even have a high school education who are coming from those countries. Now, there have been several ideas for getting highly educated immigrants in the country. One thing that I would personally like to see, because if you go throughout the universities here in Utah, you'll see that there are a number of people who are becoming educated here. They're from Russia, they're from other parts of Asia, they're from Africa, Europe, all over the world, getting educated here in Utah. And they came here the right way. They came here on a student visa, they came here legally, they're staying here legally, but the moment they graduate with a bachelor's degree, now that they are that kind of highly educated immigrant that we want here in this country, using their skills and education to grow our businesses and our economy, now that they have that degree, we kick them out, saying that their student visas have expired. That doesn't make any sense. We ought to be giving them a green card right along with their diplomas and allowing them to stay here as long as they wish. For low education immigrants, there's still a number that we can let into the country. We don't have to shut it off completely, but right now, low education illegal immigrants are coming in the country unchecked. We have no clue really how many are here. We can only estimate. Finally, we need to be talking about what to do with the illegals who are here. What to do with the illegals has been discussed throughout the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. The problem is the Republicans are going about it the completely wrong way right now. The Republicans have come to the conclusion that we can just make everybody who's here illegally, make them legal, allow them to work, pay taxes, but they can't get federal benefits, they can't have citizenship, but they can live here. Now that does actually sound like a fairly reasonable plan until you get into the details. Because in politics, it's not just about whether the legislation is good or bad. You have to consider the overall political environment first. So let's do that. The first thing is the timing. Why in the world are the Republicans talking about what to do with the illegals here before securing the border and before getting a tracking system in place? That's the reason that we have so many illegals here. They're trying to deal with the aftermath of a problem instead of the underlying cause. And that's wrong. And the reason that I'm kind of pinning the fault on the Republicans for this one is because they are not trying to change the national dialogue. They're not talking to the American people to begin with, so the Democrats are controlling what the discussion is about, and the Republicans are simply reacting in their own way. And that's no good. The second thing to keep in mind is the leadership that the Republican Party currently has in Washington, D.C. Now, do we really believe that John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, the two people who have caved in every negotiation that they've been a part of in the last 5.5 years, do we really believe that they'll be able to stand up to what the Democrats are going to throw at them after we pass this bill? Let me tell you what I mean. I am absolutely certain that the day after this bill passes, if it ever does pass, that the Democrats will say, this is like slavery. We're willing to let them work for us, pay their taxes for our government and for our federal benefits, but they don't get those same benefits and they don't have a say as to what kind of a government they are paying for, meaning they cannot vote. This is what they will say over and over again until the Republicans cave and pass a full-blown amnesty. Do we really think that John Boehner and Mitch McConnell will be able to stand up to that? I really don't. And I don't think we should take the risk, even if you do feel that they will stand up to it, because there's no evidence to support that assertion. Now, in Representative Stewart's defense, Even though this has been his plan, and even though it's wrong, he has separated it into separate bills. So at least he's trying to get the border secure first and then move on to it. But he's missing the problem with the leadership, that we don't have the strong leadership needed in Washington to be able to make an idea like that work anyways. But we can have a stronger immigration policy that encourages economic growth, that strengthens our economy and our businesses, and makes it easier for immigration matters that deal with the family, marrying someone from another country, for example. Many people in the upcoming elections will be voting on immigration, but they can't vote for us if they don't know what our ideas are. I promise that I'll make sure that I'm on the national stage speaking to the American people as often as possible about the issue of immigration, because it's common sense what we're wanting to do. And I'm sure the American people will see that as soon as we let them know what our ideas are. But right now, while the Democrats currently control the dialogue and the Republicans are too fearful to change it, we will continue to lose on this issue and see the American people starting to agree with the Democrat Party, even though they have no idea what the alternatives are and why we may not support what the Democrats are wanting to do. So while I may only be one of 535 legislators on Capitol Hill, I'll be one of only a handful of voices in the Republican Party. And that can make a big difference in the mood of the nation. And I'd be honored to do that for Utah's 2nd District. Thank you.